Hello everybody and welcome to another video. So we've had the Adepticon previews and there are some pretty awesome ones and some not so awesome ones, but let's jump in and have a look. So first things first, we're going to get the elephant in the room completely covered. There was no Horus Heresy previews, as they already stated. There was no teaser at the end, as some content creators said there would be. And there is no new edition coming to the Horus Heresy, as I have said from day one when these rumours came out. It is completely unfeasible for the Specialist Design Studio to pump out 3-year editions for Horus Heresy, the Old World, and the Middle-earth game. Never mind when you look at things like Kill Team, Warcry, Necromunda, and Underworlds, and every other system that they also do. It just doesn't make sense, and it was never going to be a thing. So they may have dropped something later on today in regards to Heresy Thursday. I'd expecting another console or a character miniature at best, but if you're honestly hoping for a new edition, you're not getting it. We may get another box set at some point in the future with some of the new plastic marine kits, but that's probably it. Probably the biggest, most likely thing that we're going to get is probably Dark Mechanicus at some stage. But that's the Horus Heresy. There is zip, nothing, no addition. So let's just put that crap back to bed. But anything, we pretty much kicked off with the Old World, and there are some pretty amazing Old World releases here. We've got the Wood Elves and the Beastmen both coming with their battalions, their arcane journals, and returning miniatures. Now, they haven't shown everything, and obviously as these factions come to pre-order, then they'll slowly reveal everything that is coming. Bearing in mind, we are still waiting for the Wave 2 for the High Elves. That still hasn't come. One of the cool things in this picture that I've just noticed is the old metal dragon, which did come with the 2 twins. Hopefully, that is the one that has the twins as well as the Lord on it. And they changed that from a metal model to a resin model, because that model in metal was an absolute pain in the arse to build. It was horrible. But as you can expect, the Beastmen are pretty much the Beastmen. Still can't see any of those old metal Centaurs. I'm still holding out hope that they are updated to a new kit. They do talk about Centaurs, but, you know, they're not actually showing them. So the battalion for the Beastmen is, as you can expect, lots of Gors, Ungors, and the Cygors, plus the dual kit that comes with, which is pretty cool. And you get the Arcane Journal with a couple of Regiment of Renowns in there. We get some returning Age of Sigmar plastics, obviously the Beast Lord, which was the random model that we got in Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, and the Bray Shaman miniature as well. So we get the big guy, and we get a lot of returning plastics, the Bulgors, the Bestigors, the Gors, and the Ungors, which is kind of cool. For the returning resins, we got the Cockatrix, the Jabberspire, this weird thing. That is old. I think that's like 4th, 5th edition old. The Doom Bull, which is a shame that this model isn't released in plastic, but sad times, but still a pretty impressive miniature. And then we get the new character, which we'd already seen previously. For the returning metals, we got the 2 Centaur Lords, but this is the only Centaurs they've shown so far, so I'm still holding out hope that there is something for them, because the metal kit is not great, and, you know, it's a cavalry meta. It would be nice to see them coming back as a plastic kit. This model is really cool that they're re-releasing this. I believe this model was only available in one of the army boxes that come out, which is pretty cool to see that being released again. And then we have the Beast Lords and the Bray Shamans as well, which is really, really cool. And then we have the Razor Gore and the Razor Gore Tuskor chariots as well, which is sweet. Now the Wood Elves are pretty much almost an entire, if not mostly, plastic range. Their battalion box is pretty good, because they were updated in 8th edition for Warhammer Fantasy Battle, so a lot of their things did come up into the new plastics, which is quite nice to see. Their Arcane Journal, and then we get a couple of old returning kits as well. We get this character, and obviously all of the returning plastics, which is really nice. I'm a big fan of the Wood Elf miniatures. They are kind of cool. The metal miniatures, we get in Orion, which is kind of nice. We get these characters as well, which is really cool. The mounted ones and the wizard on the Great Eagle. Now, obviously, they haven't shown the dragon. Hopefully that the dragon is coming back as a resin miniature and not a returning metal. And then we get the other sort of metals as well, returning ones. It's good to see that some of the dryads and things from Age of Sigmar will be coming back over to the old world. I do think that Sylvaneth at some stage in Age of Sigmar will get a big update in regards to the dryads, because obviously they are going to be needed for the old world. And then we get the old Treekin coming back as well, which is sweet. So all in all, there is quite a lot for the old world for those two factions, but that isn't all. So they hinted at and kind of hidden a reveal in the old roadmap, which was pretty much found and deciphered by the internet within 5 minutes of it dropping, and that was the Grand Armies of Cathay. This is an entirely new range of miniatures, all in plastic, coming. I was going to do a video on breaking down what units we could potentially see in this army, but Games Workshop have decided to reveal it way before I got around to making that video. So, as expected, the Jade Warriors and the cavalry unit are there, as well as the big artillery pieces as well. So the Jade Warriors entire plastic kit comes with a couple of options, lots of head options. They made a point of talking about the head options. If you want a Mulan army, you can have a Mulan army. The Jade Lancers, I would imagine they're going to be the same, and which just look insane. If you're a Cities of Sigmar player for Age of Sigmar, I would be tempted to buy round bases and get these guys and have a Chinese-themed Cities of Sigmar army. Because you've got the cannon, you've got your Jade Warriors, which you could use as steel helms, and your Jade Lancers you could use pretty much as cavaliers. That would be really cool. You've got your cannons with the Ogre, which is apparently an add-on which allows you to sort of defend your unit. And it comes in two versions. You've got the Grand Cannon and you've got the Rocket Battery as well, which is really quite nice. You've got your hero sort of character model with this guy, lady, wizard, girl, flying this weird dragon creature. Looks pretty impressive. I expect to see this miniature in Golden Demons once it comes out. It's going to be there a lot. And I think this faction is probably going to definitely supply quite a few Golden Demon and Slayer Sword entries in the future. You've also got a couple of hero miniatures which you can build from the other kits, which is kind of cool. And then I think the miniature that pretty much stole the entire show is the Sky Lantern. I never expected them to make this thing. I was completely unsure how they would be able to make this for a miniature. They have made it. Now, by all accounts, this thing is huge. It has its own base, its own new designed flying stand, and it's absolutely massive. In the army shot, you can see them in the background. They are really, really huge. In Total War Warhammer 3, they are a really, really big, prominent unit. They've got like loaded guns, flamethrowers, and everything else. For anybody who's worried, all of the detail with the little symbols and stuff, they're decals. And apparently the decal sheet is pretty impressive in this army. So you'll see a lot of them on the banners and things like that. So don't worry, you're not going to have to really learn how to freehand. You're just going to be able to like stick a decal on there, which is really cool. This is an impressive kit. Yeah, really, really awesome. And then not to be sort of outdone, they've got the Cathay Sentinel, which is your big terracotta warriors, which are really, really cool. I'm kind of getting the feeling that GW have taken a lot of inspiration from games like Conquest from by Parabellum. They have one of the factions in there with big, massive giants, which they call Jotnar. This kind of screams that vibe to me. So it's kind of cool that they are actually sort of doing that. Big plastic kits like this are always welcome. And obviously you've got, depending how you paint it, depends on which version you're using. Your Arcane Journal, which is going to be a little bit different from current standard Arcane Journals. This is essentially the entire army list for the Cathay army, obviously because they aren't in the big hardback book that we currently have. So if they do Kislev down in the future, then expect Kislev to probably get this treatment as well. But everything that's in the army is going to be in there as well, so that's kind of cool. And then the big centerpiece model, character-wise, is Mei Ying, the Storm Dragon. Now, this is the only dragon that they've shown. I'm fully expecting at least the other two dragons to turn up at some point in the future. They have shown them in the promotional video in regards to their artwork and their sort of like sub-faction logo. The Jade Dragon and the other, Mei Ying's brother from the Yin Yang. They talk a lot about the Yin Yang in the preview as well as in this article. So I would be surprised if he doesn't turn up at some stage. And for everybody who's played Total War 3, you'll know who I'm talking about. But yeah, she is really cool. Apparently, rules-wise, she is able to move between her human form and her dragon form at will. So she's just be able to switch between the two, which is kind of cool. I'm hoping that in the dragon form, she's basically a combat monster, and in her human form, she becomes the sort of caster wizard that she's been renowned for. But that's the Cathay. Completely was not expecting this army to drop. And I definitely think that these guys have stolen the show in regards to everything else. So next up, we got Kill Team, and Kill Team's Kill Team. It's basically just a way for them to update units for 40k without actually releasing an entire new codex. And this one is all about the Ravagers, a kit that did kind of need updating and wasn't really touched with the Tyrannid major release at the beginning of the edition. These are pretty cool. They have a lot of options, obviously, for Kill Team, and the kit can also be made to make 5 Ravager Warriors. If you play Space Marine 2, you've met this thing multiple times. It's the one that comes out the ground. So like the weird snake Tyrannid, and they've got multiple different versions of them. I would be highly expecting some of these versions to make it into Space Marine 2 as well in the not too distant future. But yeah, they look pretty cool, and the fact that they come with the options of making the normal version for 40k, I do believe they said that these are getting rules on the Warhammer community page, but I can't really remember if that's correct or not. But I know that they definitely come with the options to make the 40k unit, so at least that's one thing. Then there's a load of AdMech, which you get a couple of new characters, and then you get a load of servitors, which is kind of sweet. There are some quite nice parts in there, but they're servitors. So again, I think you'll be mainly getting these for the 2 characters. And then there's the Tyrannid Terrain, which we haven't had Tyrannid Terrain since 5th edition 40k. Comes complete with a new book and rules and everything else, as you would expect for Kill Team. But yeah, that's Kill Team. Very small, but kind of cool. Next, we're going to be jumping into Age of Sigmar, and if you're an Age of Sigmar fan, yeah. There's nothing really much coming for Age of Sigmar. If there is, but nothing that they're going to show at Adepticon. We've kind of got an expansion to Spearhead. I don't really know many people who play Spearhead. There's a couple of new battalions coming, a new sort of way of playing it is coming with the Sands and Bone box set, which gives you your boards, your rules, your new terrain, which is kind of cool. And then there's a lot of new battalions or new Spearhead boxes. Now, there's no real new miniatures in any of these. It's basically just boxes of existing miniatures to create these new little sort of spearheads. That's kind of cool, but, you know, it would have been kind of nice to see something a little bit new. And it seems to be sort of different ways of using the war cry and the underworld warbands in regards to Age of Sigmar, which is fine. So the Cities of Sigmar have got one. Yay. Okay. I kind of see how that works, but I don't really get why a Warforger is there. He doesn't really do anything to these units, so it's a bit weird. The Seraphim have got one, which again is the HQ in this, or the sort of leader of this, is the 3 models at the front, which is, I believe, an Underworld's warband, which is kind of cool. But the one in the middle would work as an Old Blood on foot, which is kind of nice. But yeah, if you're looking to get into these armies, these probably a good alternative to the current Spearhead boxes that are out there. And then the OCR Bone Rippers, I've literally just got 9 models. They all come with their own rules for Spearhead, etc. This is kind of cool, but I think they could quite easily just release a book with different Spearhead options and then just allow you to collect the kits to build towards them if Spearhead is your thing. And if you've also got an existing army, you could then just take models from your existing army and put them into the roster for that Spearhead. That would be kind of a good way of doing it, rather than just boxing old models up and charging a little bit more for them. Ogres, nothing new. And you can win a starter set for Spearhead. The only really big news on regards to Age of Sigmar is the new General's Handbook. There is going to be a build-up soon. There's a new realm that we're going to be fighting in, which is Gairan. This is a little bit of departure from the current format, which is a bit of a shame. It comes in a box, you get a lot of cards, you get a book, and you get the objective markers. I kind of like the current book that you get, which we've had for a few years. I'll have to see what this one's like. Obviously, I will be getting it because I will obviously be playing events and stuff for Age of Sigmar, and it's kind of a must-have. But yeah, it's a 72-page softback book, contains all the background for the Jade Realm, alongside all of the core rules for match play, featuring updated advanced rules. The battle pack also contains a new seasonal rule, which means a new battle tactics, and 12 new battle plans. So it's obviously going to shake up the game. Interesting, but we'll have to see exactly what that means. They have also said that every faction will have one unit on the build-up to this will get updated with the new War Scroll. Not sure how that's going to work for the armies that have only just come out, like the Stormcast, Skaven, Slaves to Darkness, Ironjaws, or the Oruks, and the Soulblight Gravelords. I would imagine that's mainly going to focus on the armies that have yet to have a new book, but we'll see. But obviously, scoring of Gairan is the new sort of narrative that we're moving into, which is interesting, but I'm sure we'll know more when that book drops later this summer. Okay, so 40k Not to Be Outdone is also having a new sort of competitive play pack, and it's a new mission deck for a chapter approved. So if you literally just got Prior Nexus on the reprint that happened last month, you've probably got a few months left of that until this one drops. So yeah, it's an entire new deck. It's an entire new way of playing 40k competitively, and it comes with 3 different modes of play. You now have cards for 1,000 points, your standard 2,000 point games, and then the new asymmetric warfare games, which is probably going to be your sort of your deck that you use for your pickup games, if you're not more inclined for the competitive scene. The secret missions are being removed for the new challenges, and this basically works that if you are trailing by 6 victory points or more, you're able to pick one of these challenges. It has like a free stratagem. There's a couple of them there in the article, and these work on top of your primary and secondary objectives as well, which is interesting. And they're also selling a objective marker set as well, which will sort of come with this PET material. I'm thinking that's maybe the mouse map material. I hope it is, because that would be kind of cool. But you know, it's about time that Games Workshop actually started selling these sort of objective markers that pretty much the third-party market is dominating right now. But either way, this is due out this summer as well, so I would expect this and the General's Handbook to probably land around about the same time. Okay, so the meat of the supposed Year of Chaos, which turned out not to be so much a Year of Chaos, is obviously the 3 codexes for the World Eaters, Thousand Sons, and Death Guard. This is the what we're getting for the World Eaters. It is an 8-bound champion. Basically, he's a Space Marine with a Bloodthirster inbound in him. He's big, he's bad. He comes with 2 head options, which is kind of cool. That's obviously going to have the Codex. Is going to be coming with the new artwork on it, and there's going to be an army box release for this, which is basically him and a load of 8-bounders. So if you're into your World Eaters, or you want to get into your World Eaters and you want to go into the heavy of the 8-bound side of the army, then this is the box for you, which looks kind of cool. If you're a current World Eater player, you probably have all the 8-bound that you probably need, so you're probably only going to need him. The Death Guard are obviously going to get the same treatment. We've already seen the guy that they're getting, which is the air conditioning guy with the big sword. He was shown at the last preview. But again, they're getting a box with a lot of existing miniatures and their new codex as well, which is awesome. And then the Thousand Sons get these really weird, derpy robots. I'm not 100% sold on these things. They're not like the Castellax from the Heresy, which is what I assumed these would be. These look a little bit more like Men of Iron. There's definitely a lot of elements that are similar to some of the sort of the kin from the Votann, especially those heads. They have the kind of silhouette of the Men of Iron, which is a bit strange. I would have thought they would have sort of come from the Castellax sort of line of robot, but I'm sure there'll be lore to explain why they look more like Men of Iron than actual Castellaxes. But yeah, they've got a load of weapon options. Again, if you're playing Space Marine 2, 100% expect these guys to turn up at some point in the future. Seeing that Thousand Sons are the big sort of bad guys in the game. And yeah, and they get a box and they get the codex. Obviously, there's the limited edition codexes. There's only going to be 1,600 of them each. They'll probably cost a fortune. The scalpers will get them, charge an absolute fortune on eBay. But the good thing is they'll be out of date before they even hit the shelves, so there's always that. But they'll look nice on your shelf if you are going to get one. For me, I think I'll take a pass. And there was even more for 40k. So we're getting a new Crusade. We're going to Armageddon. So a lot of the rumours in regards to Armageddon were true. A lot of people expected Armageddon to be sort of the end of the edition narrative. I still think it is the end of the edition narrative. I think we're going to get a lot more for Armageddon. It's a new Crusade book, so if you play Crusade, you now have a new story, narrative-driven book to come with. But there's a lot of reveals in regards to this, and you'll kind of sort of pick them up as we go through it. There's obviously different ways of playing. Obviously, World Eaters, Grey Knights are a big thing. We'll get onto the Grey Knights in a second. There's sort of new little things that you can add in, like your Nemesis champions and your inspirational champions, which will give them additional rules for your Crusade games. And then obviously the Grey Knights are coming. Now, there is no refresh here. There is no big, massive overhaul of the Grey Knight range that everybody was talking about and expecting to happen. Basically, all they're getting is an upgrade frame for the Nemesis Dread Knight to make a Grandmaster. That's it. That's all they're getting. So they're still going to be really small. They're still going to be really derpy. They are reasonably nice kits, but they're not, like, compared to the Primera Space Marines. Yeah. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. The options for this is kind of cool, and it is kind of nice that you're going to be able to distinguish your Grandmasters from your normal Nemesis Knights. But I still feel that they could have probably done a little bit more for them. They seem to have put a lot more of their time into the Grand Cathay army for the old world and another faction for 40k, which we're going to jump onto in a second. But if you did watch this preview, you'd have probably know which one I'm already talking about. Just a quick point in post-editing, something that I did miss for the video. In regards to Armageddon, they were asked questions at the end of that segment, and they did kind of confirm that Commissar Yarrick is dead. So he isn't coming back. he isn't coming for Armageddon. He is 100% dead. They literally said so in the interview. There was a body, there was a funeral, he is dead. Rest in peace, Yarrick. An absolute iconic character has kind of been killed off screen, which is really crap. But yeah, it's a shame. He is dead, and they kind of basically put that sort of whole thing to bed there. And then to finish off, they shown this, which is the Space Wolves, which is completely come out of left wing. Now, apparently, in the old roadmap, if you inverted the shadows on the picture, there was a silhouette in the background of that photo. I don't know who finds these things, but I looked at that picture and you could barely see it. But apparently there was a silhouette in that picture, and that was basically a silhouette of a space wolf fighting another space wolf in some really weird artwork that I've not seen. It was probably in one of the Crusade books or one of the other publications, and that's how people worked out that the Space Wolves were probably going to be coming this year. And then they dropped this, which is the new army box for the new Space Wolf range. They have turned around and said there is a lot more coming, and they kind of confirmed, dodged the bullet when asked about Thunderwolf Cavalry. So if you are a Thunderwolf Cavalry fan, expect to see them get legend. I can't see them staying. But the new box comes with the new Grey Hunters, the new Blood Claws, a new unit which is essentially Space Wolf Blade Guard, and the new Battle Leader, which is essentially a Lieutenant. So the new Blood Claws look absolutely amazing. There's a lot of nice little nods to the different marks of armor with them, and they are really good. They've kind of gone back to that second edition feel for Space Wolves, which is something I'm a big fan of. This guy here with the sort of Mark 6 type legs is really, really cool. I would definitely give him that Mark 6 head to have a proper Mark 6 Marine. The only downside is there's a lack of shoulder pads with studs. That's my only criticism. Although I am happy to see a Space Marine now with a Lightning Claw again. That's always nice to see. The Grey Hunters obviously are an entirely separate kit, as the rumours suggested that these two kits were coming. These look really cool. They have said that these guys have a slightly smaller version of the bolt rifle. It's the bolt carbine, and apparently they fire 3 shots rather than the standard 2. And then they're also geared up for close combat as well. So we're kind of getting the old school Grey Hunter back, where they could shoot and fight in close combat. The Blood Claws are just out and out close combat troops, which is what you expect from Blood Claws. The new unit is these guys, and these are the Wolfguard Head Takers. They're basically Wolfguard Blade Guard for the Space Wolves. Now they have talked about the Terminators in the article, and we'll get onto the rumours in a second, but these guys come with a lot of options, and they also have their little friendly wolves, which apparently have rules that work with the models. They're kind of giving me the Ruination Chamber vibe from Age of Sigmar, in regards to you get 3 big elite guys and then a little sort of model to help them. That's kind of interesting that they've gone down that route with these guys. But they've got a load of weapon options, from axes to swords, shields, the whole bang. Like in that photo, you can obviously dual wield them, which is really, really cool. And then they have the Wolfguard Battle Leader, which you can kind of see the options there for him. Now, not sure what's happening with the current Wolfguard Battle Leader, which is in the Combat Patrol, and has never been sold separately. He's always been locked in one of the boxes. Hopefully he doesn't disappear, and he does stay around, because he's quite nice. And then we get the Wolf Priest, which has probably one of the best bear heads I've seen GW do on a Space Wolf miniature in a long time. That one is just so damn cool. I'm wondering if we are going to get Ulrich the Slayer, seeing as that we've got this. I was hoping that one of the bear heads would look like Ulrich, and then you could probably get it. But, I mean, if you get the existing plastic Ulrich miniature, you could probably put that head in this body and then kind of have Ulrich as a Primaris Marine if he doesn't get a new one. That could always work. Obviously, new codex, new rules, and everything else. Now, there is a roadmap for 40k, which we kind of get, and they've hinted at the Votan, and now the Imperial Fists. I do think that is going to be like a supplement book for Space Marines to give new characters and new rules to the the Codex compliant chapters, if you could talk them that, like so the Salamanders, Imperial Fists, and hopefully the Crimson Fists. These will probably be the characters like Vulcan Heston and the others sort of getting updated. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming. They did say that there is more coming for the Space Wolves, and that's probably going to be characters. If the rumours are true, and obviously the vast majority of the rumours for this preview were wrong, but if the rumours are true, then there are going to be Terminators with the new Wolfguard Terminators. If that's right, then we'll probably see Logan Grimnar. I have heard that the Christmas Chariot is being binned, and he's going to be back on foot. Najal Stormcaller will probably get done, and Arjak's Rockfist will probably get done, because that's your 3 Terminator characters. I'm a bit on the fence if Ulrich is going to get a new miniature, but again, if he doesn't, you could kind of use that Wolf Priest and just use the existing head and some of the parts to kind of convert him up, which will work. Thunderwolf Cavalry seem to be going to Legends. I think a lot of stuff is going to go, and they kind of shown a picture a few months ago, I think it was possibly just before Christmas, of a Space Wolf Redemptor Dreadnought, which had all of the markings on it for Bjorn. So I would be expecting a Space Wolf Dreadnought to come along with them as well, which will probably build a regular Dreadnought, Bjorn the Fell-Handed, and probably Murderfang. But yeah, all in all, this is probably one of the biggest range refreshes for Space Marines outside of the Dark Angels. Like, this is pretty impressive, and it kind of see now why they didn't really get one in 9th edition like the others did, which is cool. I'm probably gonna start them at some point, but I will wait until near the end of the year once they're all fully out and the major hype has gone past them. They are probably one of my favourite chapters of all time. In fact, just above my head there is my original 2nd edition Codex that I got when I was like 10, and it's still in really good condition, because that book is like my favourite. There's no sign of Russ, and if they are going to bring Lehman Russ back, I would imagine if he is coming, they would have shown him, and they haven't. Now, they did hint at the end of all of this of kind of what's coming later on in the year, and they did do a silhouette. Now, that silhouette looks more like Vulcan than it does Lehman Russ, so if there is another Primarch coming back to 40k, I'm probably putting my money back on the big bald man himself, especially considering that the Salamanders have been sort of teased a lot. It's a shame. I would love to see them bring Russ back, especially the fact that Lionel Johnson's back as well. But the fact that they haven't really done anything with Lion and Rabuti Gilliman yet in the narrative would kind of, it's a little bit sad. And you know, Russ needs to get back with his best boy Lion, so that would be interesting. But it's probably not going to happen. If you are expecting him to turn up, I don't think he is, which is sad times, because I would love to see Lehman Russ leading the Wolves in 40k. But that's the previews. They're some amazing ones. Cathay, the Space Wolves, definitely probably the 2 highlights. Age of Sigmar, there's at least a 3-month gap now from the Soulblight Gravelords coming out to the Deepkin, which is really, really sad, considering that this is the first full year of 4th edition, and it seems to be more focused on 40k than Age of Sigmar, which is a bit sad for Age of Sigmar. The old world is absolutely kicking the crap out of the Age of Sigmar right now in regards to releases, and the quality of the releases, even though they're like 20-30 year models. And now we have the Cathay coming, which is an entirely new faction, new range plastic, which is on par with all of the current stuff that Games Workshop do. Like, those models are insane. So they're going to be super popular. So if you are playing the old world, yay for Cathay on Cathay games from now on. Tournaments are going to be great because they're probably going to be busted, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry's probably going to be collecting them. Apart from the High Elf players, because High Elves are broken, and they'll probably continue playing High Elves because they're busted. So it's just going to be High Elf and Cathay at events. So yay. Space Wolves look cool, and the Year of Chaos is basically 3 characters. And that's about it. I would expect to see another preview in and around about May time. So we'll hopefully then see some Age of Sigmar stuff in regards to the Deepkin and the Nighthaunt. But until then, you're pretty much just looking forward to your General's Handbook, and that's it. So yeah, the rumours, or the vast majority of rumours, were wrong, or just didn't materialise. And we had a few surprises, so it's all good. But that's the video. If you like what I do, please like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. You can check out my members and Patreon areas if you want to support me in other ways, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye bye.